First Contact Protocol. The anomaly appeared suddenly on deep space radar screens at the Lunar Observatory. What initially registered as a minor gravitational distortion rapidly materialized into something that sent shockwaves through Earth's Unified Defense Command. Commander Eliza Chen stared at the main display as technicians scrambled to make sense of the readings. Confirmed size is approximately 12 kilometers in length, reported Lieutenant Alvarez, his voice unusually calm given the circumstances. It's decelerating from what appears to have been faster than light travel. Chen's throat tightened. After decades of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, humanity was about to experience first contact, and it was arriving in a vessel larger than any city on Earth. Alert all defense systems, but maintain passive posture, she ordered. No provocative actions. Get me a direct link to the Security Council immediately. Within 20 minutes, representatives from every major nation were connected to the secure feed. The massive object had settled into a high Earth orbit, maintaining a position directly above the North Atlantic. Initial scans revealed a structure beyond anything human engineering could conceive, a perfect geometric configuration that seemed to defy basic physics in several detectable ways. "It's broadcasting," Alvarez announced, his composure finally cracking. A signal penetrated every communication system on Earth simultaneously, overriding broadcasts and appearing on screens worldwide. The universal translation matrix developed for potential extraterrestrial contact began processing the complex linguistic patterns. The being that appeared on screen had humanoid features, but with distinctly alien characteristics: iridescent skin that shifted between deep blue and violet, 4 symmetrically placed eyes, and what appeared to be intricate mechanical augmentations integrated into its skull. Humans of Earth, the translation rendered in perfect Mandarin, English, Russian, Arabic, and thousands of other languages simultaneously. "I am High Emissary Xorak of the Galactic Confederation, supreme governing body of civilized space. Your world has been under observation since your species developed primitive atomic technology. The time has come to formalize your status." Chen stood straighter, conscious that she was now representing all of humanity. "Emissary Xorak, I am Commander Eliza Chen of Earth's Unified Defense Command. We welcome peaceful contact with the Galactic Confederation and look forward to establishing diplomatic relations." Alvarez's expression remained unchanged. "You misunderstand the nature of this contact, Commander. The Confederation does not establish diplomatic relations with pre-spacefaring civilizations. You will be classified as a Category 3 developing world. This designation requires immediate quarantine." Murmurs broke out among the Security Council members. Chen maintained her composure. "Quarantine. Please clarify what this entails." "No Earth vessel or transmission will be permitted beyond your moon. No Earth citizen may leave your solar system. Confederation monitoring stations will be established in your outer system to enforce compliance. Attempt to violate these restrictions will result in immediate disciplinary action." The Security Council feed erupted in protest. Chen raised a hand to silence them. "Emissary Xorak, Earth has already established bases on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. We have probes beyond the heliosphere. While we respect your authority, these restrictions seem unnecessarily severe for a peaceful civilization." A flicker of something, annoyance, perhaps, crossed Xorak's alien features. "Your technological progress is precisely why quarantine is necessary. The Confederation maintains galactic stability through controlled advancement. Unregulated development presents unacceptable risks." "And if we refuse these terms?" Chen asked, already knowing the answer. "Refusal is not an option available to you." Xorak's tone remained level. "Resources have already been allocated for your containment. The quarantine begins immediately. Further communication will occur when your civilization reaches appropriate developmental milestones." The transmission cut abruptly. Pandemonium broke out across global communication channels as the reality of what had just occurred sank in. Earth, which had been on the verge of establishing its first extrasolar colonies, was effectively being imprisoned in its own solar system by an entity with technology so advanced it might as well be magic. The emergency session of the United Nations stretched into its fourth hour. Representatives from spacefaring nations argued vehemently against accepting the Confederation's terms, while others cautioned against provoking a clearly superior force. "We have no choice but to comply for now," argued the French delegate. "Their vessel could likely neutralize our entire orbital defense network in seconds." "Compliance means surrendering our sovereignty," countered the Indian representative. "Today they restrict our movement. Tomorrow they may decide our civilization requires further management." Chen watched from the sidelines, letting the politicians debate while her team analyzed every scrap of data they had captured during the brief interaction. Something didn't add up. If the Confederation was truly concerned about Earth's development, why wait until now to impose restrictions? Why not intervene decades ago? Her secure communicator vibrated. The message was simple: unusual energy signature detected near Pluto's orbit, not Confederation technology. Chen quietly excused herself from the assembly. In a secure room adjacent to the main chamber, she found Admiral Takamura waiting, his weathered face grave. "The signature is approaching Earth at incredible speed," he reported, "but using some kind of stealth technology that masks it from conventional detection." "Another Confederation vessel?" Chen asked. "No." Takamura brought up a holographic display. "The energy pattern is completely different, and they're broadcasting on a frequency the Confederation doesn't appear to be monitoring." The message was fragmentary, distorted by what appeared to be deliberate scrambling. "Not alone. Confederation lies. Resistance exists. Prepare. Track it," Chen ordered. "And keep this absolutely quiet." 3 days after the quarantine announcement, Earth remained in a state of uneasy compliance. Confederation monitoring stations had appeared at the edge of the solar system, massive structures that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. All attempts at communication had been rebuffed. Chen stood in the secure underground facility beneath Geneva, addressing the hastily assembled Earth Defense Council, a new body formed of military leaders, scientists, and key industrial figures. "The Confederation isn't telling us everything," she began. "Historical analysis of their terminology and protocols suggests they're not a unified governing body as they claim, but rather a dominant faction in what appears to be an ongoing galactic power struggle." Dr. Nasir Rahman, head of Genolinguistics, stepped forward. "Commander Chen is correct. The translation matrix detected subtle linguistic markers consistent with propaganda rather than objective description. When they refer to civilized space, they're using terminology that implies contested territory, not universal consensus." "And there's more," Chen continued. "The unknown signal we detected 3 days ago has been partially decoded. It appears to come from a faction that opposes Confederation policy. They're offering assistance, though the details remain unclear. How can we trust this mysterious faction any more than the Confederation?" asked General Williams of the North American Alliance. "We can't," Chen admitted. "But they've provided one crucial piece of information. The Confederation quarantine isn't about protecting galactic stability. It's about resource control. Earth sits on something they want, and the quarantine is designed to prevent us from becoming strong enough to protect it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "What are our options?" asked President Okafor of the African Union. Chen's gaze swept the room. "We appear to comply with their quarantine while secretly preparing for the possibility of resistance. We accelerate our technological development using what we can learn from observing their monitoring stations, and we cautiously establish contact with this opposing faction to learn more." "You're proposing we defy the most powerful force we've ever encountered," said Williams, his voice low. "I'm proposing we protect our sovereignty," Chen replied firmly. "Humanity doesn't accept prison, no matter how vast the cell. We have one advantage. They clearly underestimate us. Let's make sure they continue to do so until we're ready." The vote was unanimous. Earth would outwardly comply while secretly preparing for resistance, As the meeting adjourned, Chen received another secure message. The unknown signal had reappeared, this time with coordinates for a rendezvous in the asteroid belt. "Prepare a stealth shuttle," she told Admiral Takamura. "I'm going to meet our mysterious friend." The journey to the coordinates took 14 hours in the most advanced stealth vessel Earth possessed. Chen knew this mission violated the quarantine, but the risk was necessary. As they approached a cluster of asteroids, sensors detected a small craft unlike anything in Earth's database. "We're being scanned," reported the pilot. A voice came through their communication system, speaking in flawless English. "Commander Chen, I am Krell, emissary of the Free Systems Alliance. I apologize for the cloak and..." Chen authorized full implementation of what became known as Project Chimera. Within 6 months, Earth had developed a stealth system that could mask not just communications, but entire vessels from Confederation detection. The first test came when a small scout ship equipped with the new technology slipped past the monitoring stations near Neptune and returned undetected. "It worked," Chen informed the Security Council. "But we need to be cautious. The moment we reveal this capability, we lose our advantage of surprise." President Okafor, who had emerged as Earth's de facto leader in extraterrestrial matters, nodded gravely. "How long until we can implement this technology on a larger scale?" Dr. Rahman estimates 3 months to equip our defense fleet and establish a secure manufacturing pipeline hidden from Confederation observation, Chen replied. "But capability is only part of the equation. We need a strategy." That strategy began to take shape as Earth established more regular contact with the Free Systems Alliance. Krell introduced Chen to representatives from other quarantined or subjugated worlds, many of whom had been developing resistance technologies for generations. The Confederation maintains control through the perception of overwhelming superiority, explained Sora, an entity from a gas giant system whose physical form was partially obscured by an atmospheric containment field. They rarely need to demonstrate their full military capacity because most worlds surrender without meaningful resistance, which means their actual combat readiness may be less formidable than it appears, Chen surmised. "Precisely," Krell confirmed. "Their frontline enforcement vessels are designed for intimidation rather than sustained conflict. They haven't fought a genuine war in over 5,000 years." Armed with this knowledge, Earth accelerated its preparations. The public remained largely unaware of these developments, though rumors abounded. To the average citizen, life continued much as before, with the only visible change being restrictions on off-world travel and communication. Beneath this veneer of normalcy, Earth was transforming into what Chen privately called a porcupine planet, appearing soft and compliant on the surface, while developing sharp, hidden defenses beneath. 1 year after the quarantine began, the Confederation sent a delegation to assess Earth's compliance. High Emissary Xorak himself led the inspection, arriving in a vessel significantly smaller than the initial contact ship, but still imposing by human standards. "Your adaptation to quarantine has been commendably efficient," Xorak noted during his meeting with Earth's Leadership Council. "Though we detect some concerning patterns in your resource allocation, we've had to restructure our economy given the limitations imposed." President Okafor replied smoothly. "Certain industries have naturally contracted while others have expanded." What Okafor didn't mention was that the contracted industries had simply gone underground, with aerospace and advanced materials manufacturing continuing at accelerated rates in facilities shielded from Confederation scanning. "We will be increasing the sensitivity of our monitoring systems," Xorak announced. "Recent analyses suggest possible anomalies in your development trajectory. Nothing conclusive, but sufficient to warrant enhanced surveillance." Chen caught Rahman's subtle nod across the room. They had anticipated this escalation and prepared accordingly. The stealth technology had already been upgraded to account for more sensitive detection methods. "We understand," Okafor replied. "Earth remains committed to peaceful compliance with Confederation protocols." After Xorak's delegation departed, Chen met with the core leadership team in a facility buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, one of the few locations genuinely impervious to all known forms of Confederation surveillance. "They suspect something," she said without preamble, "but they don't know what. Their increased monitoring gives us an opportunity to test the limits of our stealth capabilities." Raman brought up a holographic display of the solar system. "We've identified a blind spot in their sensor network near the Kuiper Belt. If we can position our prototype vessel there, we could potentially establish a permanent outpost beyond their effective monitoring range." "And if they detect it?" asked General Williams. "Then we learn the limitations of our technology under controlled conditions," Chen replied. "Better to test it now than discover its weaknesses during a critical operation." The mission was authorized, and 3 weeks later, the EDS Pathfinder, Earth's first fully stealth-capable interplanetary vessel, slipped quietly past the orbit of Neptune. For 7 tense days, it maintained position in the calculated blind spot, gathering data on Confederation monitoring patterns and testing various counter-detection systems. On the 8th day, disaster struck. A previously undetected Confederation patrol vessel appeared nearby, its sensor arrays sweeping the region. For a heart-stopping moment, the patrol seemed to focus directly on the Pathfinder's position, then continued on its predetermined route without altering course. "They didn't see us," reported Captain Javier Rodriguez when the Pathfinder returned safely to Earth orbit. "Even at close range, their systems registered nothing unusual." The success emboldened Earth's leadership. Over the next 6 months, similar missions ventured progressively further into restricted space, mapping Confederation patrol routes and sensor coverage. Each success built confidence, but Chen remained cautious. "We're still playing catch-up with technology thousands of years more advanced than our own," she reminded the Council. "The Alliance has been helpful, but they've made it clear there are limits to what they can provide without risking their own security." The warning proved prescient. 18 months into the quarantine, the Confederation suddenly increased its military presence in the solar system without explanation. Additional monitoring stations appeared around Mars and the asteroid belt, and patrol frequency doubled overnight. "Something's changed," Chen told Raman during an emergency meeting. "This isn't a response to anything we've done. Their deployment patterns suggest they're reacting to an external threat." The answer came from Krell, whose encoded message arrived via the secure channel they had established. "Confederation internal conflict escalating. Dominant faction pushing for resource extraction from all quarantined worlds. Earth designated as priority target. Prepare for possible intervention within solar cycle." The message confirmed their fears. The quarantine had never been about protecting galactic stability. It had been the prelude to exploitation. The clock was now ticking on Earth's window for preparation. "We need to accelerate Project Helios," Chen told the Defense Council, referring to their most ambitious development program. "If the Confederation moves to full resource extraction protocols, we'll have no choice but to reveal our capabilities." Project Helios represented Earth's attempt to reverse engineer Confederation propulsion technology based on the limited observations they had gathered. If successful, it would give humanity its first viable faster-than-light travel capability, and with it, a chance to break the quarantine entirely. As tension mounted, Earth maintained its facade of compliance while completing final preparations for potential conflict. Distributed manufacturing facilities worked around the clock to produce stealth-capable defensive platforms. Military personnel trained in secret for space combat scenarios that would have seemed like science fiction just 2 years earlier. The confrontation, when it came, was not where they expected it. A Confederation resource survey vessel bypassed the established protocols and entered Earth's atmosphere without warning, positioning itself above the Pacific Ocean. Before Earth's visible defenses could respond, the vessel deployed dozens of smaller craft that began systematic scanning of the seabed. "They're looking for deep-sea mineral deposits," Raman reported, "specifically targeting rare earth elements and certain isotopes we've identified as crucial to their technology." Chen faced the most crucial decision of her career, reveal Earth's hidden capabilities now, or allow the Confederation to begin mapping Earth's resources for eventual extraction. Activate Defense Protocol Omega, she ordered after a moment's consideration. Selective reveal only. Let's show them just enough to make them reconsider. Across the Pacific, seemingly ordinary shipping vessels suddenly transformed as hidden panels opened to reveal advanced weapon systems. From underwater bases, stealth-capable interceptors rose to the surface. None directly threatened the Confederation survey vessel, but they established a clear defensive perimeter. When the Confederation vessel attempted to communicate with its monitoring stations, it discovered its transmissions mysteriously blocked by interference it couldn't identify. For the first time, humanity demonstrated that the quarantine wasn't as impenetrable as the Confederation had believed. The survey vessel quickly retreated to orbit, where it was met by a small contingent of Earth's newly revealed defense fleet, vessels that, until that moment, the Confederation had no idea it existed. "This is Commander Eliza Chen of Earth Defense Command," she transmitted to the surprised Confederation vessel. "Your unauthorized entry into Earth's atmosphere and resource survey activities constitute a violation of our sovereignty. We request immediate clarification of your intentions." The response was immediate and predictable. "Earth is a quarantined world under Confederation jurisdiction. Your possession of unauthorized technology is a serious violation of quarantine protocols. Stand down immediately or face disciplinary action." Chen smiled thinly. "I'm afraid Earth no longer recognizes the legitimacy of your quarantine. We are prepared to discuss mutually beneficial diplomatic relations, but we will not submit to unilateral restrictions or resource exploitation." As she spoke, more of Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself in strategic positions throughout the solar system. It was a calculated risk, showing enough strength to give the Confederation pause, while still concealing their most advanced capabilities. The Confederation vessel retreated to join a rapidly assembling response fleet beyond the Moon's orbit. The first test of Earth's resistance had begun, and there would be no turning back. Breaking the chains. The Confederation's response fleet grew hourly, ships arriving through what Earth's scientists now understood were artificial wormholes, temporary ruptures in space-time that allowed for instantaneous travel between distant points. By the third day after Earth's show of defiance, over 40 vessels had positioned themselves in a blockade formation. In the command center beneath Geneva, Chen studied the tactical display with her senior staff. "They're being cautious," she noted. "Classic containment formation rather than assault positioning. They don't know what else we might be hiding," Admiral Takamura remarked. "That uncertainty works in our favor." Chen nodded. "For now. But they're scanning everything, gathering data. The longer this standoff continues, the more they learn about our capabilities." The Confederation had made no further attempts at communication since their initial exchange, maintaining silent observation while their fleet continued to grow. Earth's revealed defenses remained on high alert, while their still hidden assets prepared for what everyone knew was coming. "Message from the Alliance," Lieutenant Alvarez reported, handing Chen a secure tablet. The encoded communication was brief but significant. Confederation Council divided on Earth response. Moderate faction advocating for negotiation rather than military action. Opportunity exists for diplomatic solution if Earth can demonstrate sufficient deterrent capability. They're afraid, Chen realized. Not of what we've shown them, but of what it implies. If Earth has developed this level of technology, despite the quarantine, what might other subjugated worlds be hiding? President Okafor convened an emergency session of the Security Council to determine their next move. The debate was heated, with some arguing for immediate full disclosure of Earth's capabilities as a show of strength, while others cautioned that revealing everything would surrender their last advantage. "We need to thread the needle," Chen advised. "Show enough to convince them we can't be easily subdued, but maintain strategic ambiguity about our full capabilities." The decision was made to initiate direct communication with the Confederation fleet. Chen would serve as Earth's representative, with President Okafor providing political authority behind her military expertise. This is Commander Eliza Chen requesting direct communication with the Confederation Fleet Commander. She broadcast on the frequency her vessels had been using for internal communications, a small demonstration of Earth's signals intelligence capability. After a tense delay, a response came. Not from the fleet, but from High Emissary Xorak himself, speaking from what appeared to be the Confederation's central governing chamber. "Commander Chen," he acknowledged, his tone noticeably less imperious than in previous communications. "The Confederation Council has agreed to hear Earth's position on recent developments." Chen maintained perfect composure, though inwardly she celebrated this small victory. Being granted a hearing before the Council was unprecedented for a quarantined world. "The position of Earth is simple," she stated. "We assert our sovereignty as an independent world and reject the unilateral imposition of quarantine. We seek neither conflict nor isolation, but we will defend ourselves against any attempt at coercion or resource appropriation." Xorak's four eyes blinked in an unsynchronized pattern that Dr. Raman had identified as indicating surprise or discomfort. "Your world has developed technologies prohibited under quarantine protocols. This represents a serious violation of Confederation law. Laws imposed without consent or representation have no legitimacy," Chen countered. "Earth never agreed to your quarantine or recognized Confederation authority over our development. We were simply not in a position to effectively communicate this until now." The transmission was being broadcast globally. Across Earth, humans watched this exchange with a mixture of pride and trepidation, aware that their future was being determined in this dialogue. "The quarantine exists for the protection of developing worlds and the stability of civilized space," Xorak insisted, though Chen noted his use of the Confederation's propaganda terminology had decreased. "Unregulated technological advancement leads to conflict and destruction. This is historical fact. Then perhaps the solution is regulation through cooperation rather than imposition," Chen suggested. "Earth proposes a new relationship with the Confederation, not as a subject world, but as a potential partner in maintaining the stability you value." Murmurs could be heard from the Confederation Council members visible in the background of the transmission. Xorak conferred briefly with beings seated near him before responding. "The Council requires time to consider this unprecedented proposal. In the meantime, the fleet will maintain its current position, and no further enforcement action will be taken provided Earth initiates no provocations." It was a stalemate, but one that favored Earth. Every day without conflict was another day to strengthen their position and continue developing their capabilities. Chen acknowledged the Council's response with appropriate diplomatic courtesy, then ended the transmission. "They're stalling," Takamura observed once the communication ended. "Gathering reinforcements, probably." "Almost certainly," Chen agreed. "But they're also genuinely uncertain about how to proceed. Their system relies on overwhelming technological superiority and the perception of inevitability. We've challenged both assumptions." The stalemate continued for 2 weeks. During this time, Earth maintained visible vigilance while accelerating the final phase of Project Helios in secret facilities throughout the solar system. The Confederation fleet continued to grow but remained in its containment formation. Then came the breakthrough they'd been waiting for. Dr. Lindstrom's team successfully tested Earth's first functional faster-than-light drive, a hybrid system that incorporated principles from both Confederation technology and human innovation. "It works," Lindstrom reported, exhaustion and exhilaration battling in her voice. The prototype made the jump to the designated coordinates beyond Pluto's orbit and returned safely. "We can replicate the technology for larger vessels within weeks." This development changed everything. If Earth could travel faster than light independently, the quarantine became effectively unenforceable. The question now was whether to reveal this capability immediately as a deterrent or keep it in reserve as an escape option should diplomacy fail. The decision was made for them when long-range sensors detected a massive Confederation vessel emerging from a wormhole near Jupiter, a dreadnought-class warship that dwarfed even their initial contact vessel. "They're done negotiating," Chen told the Defense Council grimly. "That's a planet killer. Its weapons systems could render Earth's surface uninhabitable within hours." "Can our defenses stop it?" asked Williams. "Not directly, no. But they don't know about Project Helios or our most advanced stealth systems. We still have options." The plan they formulated was audacious to the point of recklessness, but as Chen told her officers, courage isn't the absence of fear, but the judgment that something else is more important. While the Confederation dreadnought moved ponderously toward Earth, seemingly confident in its invulnerability, a small fleet of Earth's most advanced vessels equipped with the Helios drive system slipped away from the planet under total stealth. Their destination, the Confederation monitoring stations that formed the backbone of the quarantine enforcement network. Simultaneously, Chen opened communication with the approaching dreadnought. "This is Commander Chen to Confederation Dreadnought. Your approach is being interpreted as a hostile action. Earth requests immediate clarification of your intentions." The response came from a new figure, a severe-looking being with chitinous exoskeletal features. "I am High Commander Vrex of the Confederation Enforcement Division. The Council's deliberations are concluded. Earth will submit to immediate disarmament and full quarantine protocols, or face appropriate consequences." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, High Commander. Earth's development has progressed beyond the point where such measures can be effectively implemented." "Your confidence is misplaced, Commander," Vrex replied. "This vessel alone possesses sufficient firepower to reduce your civilization to pre-industrial capacity. Your revealed defenses, while impressive for a quarantined world, are utterly inadequate against a first-rate Confederation warship." "Perhaps," Chen acknowledged, "but you seem to be operating under a fundamental misconception about Earth's strategy." At that precise moment, Earth's stealth fleet reached their targets. Simultaneously, they deployed devices developed from Free Systems Alliance technology directly onto the hulls of the monitoring stations. The devices didn't damage the stations. They simply rewrote their operating protocols. Across the solar system, Confederation monitoring stations suddenly came under Earth's control, their powerful transmission capabilities redirected to broadcast a message to every corner of Confederation space. The message contained complete technical specifications of Earth's faster-than-light drive, along with detailed instructions for its construction. Transmitted directly to every quarantined and subjugated world in Confederation territory. "You see, High Commander," Chen continued as the color drained from Vrex's alien features, "Earth never intended to fight the Confederation directly. We simply needed to level the playing field for everyone." On the command deck of his dreadnought, Vrex received frantic reports from across Confederation space. The quarantine system that had maintained their dominance for millennia was collapsing as world after world received the means to break free of their restrictions. "What have you done?" he demanded, genuine fear evident in his voice. "Created choice," Chen replied simply. "The Confederation can no longer maintain its control through technological superiority alone. You now face a simple decision. Adapt to a galaxy of equals, or exhaust your resources trying to reimpose a system that has already failed." The dreadnought halted its approach as Vrex conferred urgently with the Confederation Council. The transmission, when it resumed, showed Sorek once again, his manner notably subdued. "The Council requests an immediate cessation of these transmissions and proposes emergency diplomatic negotiations." Chen nodded graciously. "Earth is prepared to negotiate in good faith, Emissary Xorak. We suggest neutral territory for these discussions, perhaps aboard the Free Systems Alliance vessel that has just decloaked alongside your dreadnought." Indeed, as she spoke, a massive vessel of unfamiliar design appeared next to the Confederation flagship. Krell's face appeared in a secondary communication window. "The Alliance welcomes the opportunity to facilitate these historic negotiations," he announced formally. We have prepared appropriate accommodations for representatives of all parties. In the months that followed, the galaxy experienced the most significant political reorganization in millennia. The Confederation did not collapse but transformed, its more moderate factions gaining influence as the hardliners lost credibility. The quarantine system was abolished, replaced by a graduated integration protocol that respected the sovereignty of developing worlds while providing optional guidance and support. Earth emerged as a significant power in this new galactic order, not through military might, but through the diplomatic and technological leverage they had gained. Their unique approach to development and problem-solving made them valuable partners for both the reformed Confederation and the Alliance. Commander Chen, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to galactic affairs, stood at the observation deck of Harmony Station, a newly constructed diplomatic hub at the former quarantine boundary. Below her, Earth shimmered blue and beautiful, no longer isolated but connected to a vast community of worlds. Was it worth the risk? Asked Dr. Raman, who had joined her for the commemoration ceremony. Chen considered the question seriously. We could have accepted the quarantine, developed more slowly under their restrictions. We might eventually have gained limited recognition, perhaps even restricted travel rights. But never true independence, Raman noted. No, Chen agreed. And that was always the real issue. Not how fast we could develop, but whether we had the right to choose our own path. That principle was worth any risk. As delegates from 100 worlds gathered for the ceremony, Earth took its place among the stars, not as a protected protectorate or a subjugated resource, but as a full and equal member of the galactic community. The quarantine that had been meant to contain humanity had instead catalyzed its greatest achievement, proving that determination and adaptability could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. The chains,